We are going to start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So I welcome all of you for on behalf of iskcon Bhagavat Mahavidyalaya, and we are going to discuss about Jada Bharat, a very special pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam and from Canto 5. We start from the chapter 7 and it ends at chapter 13. Means there are almost 7 chapters regarding Bharat Maharaj pastime. It's a very special pastime where we discuss about that very special king called Rishabdev, and he was an incarnation of Lord Sri Hari. Out of 24 incarnations, Rishabdev is also a very special incarnation. Rishabdev had 100 sons. Among the 100, the eldest son was Bharat Maharaj, by whose name the country Bharat came to known as Bharat Desh, which is now known as India. So Bharat Maharaj, at the age of 50, he left his palace and given all his responsibility to his children as a vanprastha, because it's in routine. For 25 years of age, you need to be a brahmachari. From 25 to 50, you need to be a grasta. Even you can continue the brahmachari. At the age of 50, one should enter the vanprastha, means one should prasthan to the vana, one should go to the forests. And at the age of 75 to 100 has been divided for the sannyas, which one can take early also, because now the lifespan is reduced. So one can take early vanprastha and the early sannyas also. So he left his palace at the age of 50. He went to the place called Gandaki, Kali River, which is near Nepal. And devotees knows that Shaligram is found from a special river called Gandaki River. So in that Gandaki, he went there, he made a hut and started his tapasya austerities, chanting and meditating on the holy name, on the forms of the Lord, the Nama Rupa Guna Lila. So one day he was on the river and he was there for drinking the water, and he found that a very small deer, female deer, is running for the life from the attack of a lion. So Bharat Maharaj, being a devotee, wanted to help. A devotee has a nature of compassion, always wanted to help. So he wanted to help, but what happened that the lion attacked, and the female deer jumped from this shore of a river to the other shore of the river. And in the air only, she delivered a baby, because the deer was a pregnant deer. So the offspring came from the air to the water and started flowing in the river. But the deer could manage to save the life, but the small deer baby, nobody could save. So Bharat Maharaj, being a devotee, compassionate, tried to save, and finally he saved the deer. Once you save someone, you automatically get a connection, relationship. So he had a relationship. He brought it back to the hut and started taking care of that small deer baby, Mrag Shravaha. So he started taking that care of a deer and get so much attached that even once the small baby deer was hurt, by some thorns. So he was taking a special care and forgetting that I have to meditate. For what reason I came to the forest? Sometimes it happens with us also that we get deviations from the path of bhakti, from the path of devotion. So even the Bharat Maharaj was known as a very pure devotee. From the 9 steps of love, from Shraddha to love, there are 9 steps. Shraddha, Sadhu Sang, Bhajan Kriya, Anarth Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prem. From the level 9 steps ladder from Shraddha to Prem of Krishna, the Bharat Maharaj is known to be reached on the level of early Bhava stage. Means he was on the 8th platform. Early Bhava stage. We are still on the Anarth Nivritti, we are still on the Sadhana Sthiti, and Bharat Maharaj already 6 or 5 steps ahead of us. And still, he was so much attached to the deer that once he was passing away in the village, he was remembering the deer. Bhagavad Gita says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajante anta kalevaram tam tam eva kontve sada tad bhava bhavitaha. In Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter, Krishna explains, whatever you remember at the last time, you will get that kind of a body. Whatever you remember, the last point of your death. Ante Narayan Smriti, one should remember the Narayana. But the Bharat Maharaj was remembering, oh my dear, oh my lovely dear, where are you? I am leaving. And because he was remembering the deer, he became deer in his next life. Just imagine, at the age of, he was an austere person, he was a Varnashram follower person, he was following the Varnashram, he was following the austerity, he was doing devotion, just one attachment, and he was deer. When he became deer, because of animals, by the divine arrangement, if were humans in the last life, they remember, it's called as Jati Smaraha. They remember their past life. So the Bharat Maharaj remembers that I was a king, and because of one deviation, I became deer in this life. What was the fault? Why he get deviated? Because of that, for the compassion sometimes become attachment. Sometimes it happens with the preachers also, devotees also, that when we started helping someone, we start thinking that this person belongs to me. Instead of helping, we make relationships and we think that this is mine. This is a problem actually. So when he became deer, he knows that I have done something wrong. What mistake he did? Even he was getting deviation, he know that he should go back to the ashram of his Guru Maharaj, from where he took the informations, initiations, associations. He should go back and discuss with devotees. But Bharat Maharaj did not went back. And that is why when he became deer, he went to that same temple, Pulas Rishi Ashram, from where he took all his initiations, informations, associations. And Pulas Rishi Ashram, when the devotees are chanting and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, at that time, the small deer who is Bharat Maharaj in his past life is now focusing on the hymns of the Vedic literature, on the words of Srimad Bhagavatam, and hearing, very attentively hearing. And when there is a grass to eat, other deers are eating a green grass, Bharat was eating the dry leaves to make his life more austere. He was doing topmost austerity at that time, eating the dry grasses, associating with devotees, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yasya ye shriyumanayam Krishne paramapurushe utpade bhakti shok mo bhaya apaha. Krishna Srimad Bhagavatam says, Suta Goswami says, if somebody, yasya ve shriyomanayam, if you hear Srimad Bhagavatam, Yasya Vishriyamanayam Krishna Paramapurushe. If you hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, what will happen? Bhakti Utpade. You will get the seed of bhakti. And Shok Moh Bhay Apaha. Shok means the lamentation. Moh means the attachments. And Bhay means the fearful nature. All things will vanish away only by Yasya Ve Shriyumanayam. Only by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. That we need to do. That we need to do. So Bharat Maharaj, among the dear community, focusing on Srimad Bhagavatam, once there was a fire, forest fire, and just thinking, what should I do? He jumped into that fire. Utilizing opportunity. Utilizing is the biggest principle. Srila Prabhupada gave 4 principles in iskcon. Books are the basis. Should read Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. And the purity is the force. And what is the force? Purity. You should be very, very pure from internal and external conditions. And then books are the basis. Purity is the force. And preaching is the essence. Always keep preaching whatever you know. Keep preaching to the other people for helping them. Preaching is the essence. And lastly, and that is utility is the principle. Utilize each and everything for attaining Krishna. Anushilan karna chahiye. For what things? For the favorable things you should take. Sankalpaha. And reject those who are unfavorable. Pratikulasya varjanam. Sankalpasya anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam. So these are the rules for Sharanagati, for surrendering. These are the 6 rules. The first is you have to accept the favorable conditions and reject the unfavorable. So Bharat Maharaj accepted the forest fire as a favorable condition and left his dear body, and he became a very learned person as a Brahmin boy in a Brahmin family. When he was again born in a Brahmin family, see, Brahman already has many sons, and he has many stepbrothers, stepsisters, stepmother. And this Brahmin boy was not ready to learn and speak anything. So all the family members were disturbed. What should we do? He is not ready to listen. He is not ready to speak. Because Bharat Maharaj knows that whatever I speak, that speech is going to make me attached to the people around. So if I got attached to them, then again I have to take some other body as a male or a female. But this human form is not meant for making relationships. It's meant for making the eternal relationship with Krishna, which we all have forgotten. So at that time, his father, the Brahmin man, was telling, "Oh my son, at least remember the Gayatri mantra. Being a Brahmin, you should learn." But Jada Bharat was not ready to listen, not ready to speak. So everybody think that he is a deaf, he is a dumb, he is a dumbo man, he is a stupid person, he is not of any use. So he was given a service of taking care of the paddy fields. In the rice fields, in the farms, he was just making all the birds and the other animals coming to the farms, fields, and he was taking care of that field. So finally, when the father died, the Brahmin man, the other stepmother and the other stepbrothers and stepsisters took this Bharata. Jada means he is like a Jada Vastu, non-living thing. Like stone is called as Jada, and the person is called, the living beings are called as Chetana. So Jada and a Chetan. So because he was Jada, he was not he's like a stone, he's like a sack of rice. So he is not speaking anything, he's not doing anything. So he was known as Jada Bharata. So Jada Bharat was thrown away from his house by the step sisters, step brother, stepmother. And when he was thrown out, he was roaming around. If somebody gives food, he eats. If somebody does not give food, he does not eat. Whatever the remnants in the farms, he eat that. Whatever comes by the mercy of Lord, he eats. Otherwise, he's always meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One day, some dacoits came and they thought, he is a big man. We should take him and we should utilize for the sacrifice of goddess Durga, Kali. So dacoits took Jada Bharata. So Bharat is a resemblance name from the past life, and Jada because he was not talking to anyone. So how this name came into Bhagavatam is Jada Bharat. Though the real name is not known, he was a Brahmin man. This name is not Jada Bharat. Jada Bharat is a title given to that person because of the past life and because of the non-living activities. So Jada Bharata. So this Jada Bharat Maharaj taken by the dacoits, and the dacoits took him and bound by the very multiple ropes, and in the front of goddess Kali. This place is nearby Kurukshetra in India. There's a special pastime place. If someone can visit, that was a forest of Kurukshetra in Haryana in India. So there was a temple of goddess Kali. All the dacoits, they were about to kill. Suddenly, the goddess Kali appeared from the deity of a Kali, goddess Durga, appeared having a chopping knife in the hand and chopped all the dacoits. Why? Because even the demigods cannot accept that some devotee of Krishna is being traumatized, tortured. So the Jada Bharat was utilized by dacoits for the sacrifice, Bali. So the Durga, goddess Kali, came over and killed all the dacoits. And Jada Bharat was released from the ropes. And he was not knowing anything, why you are bounding me, why goddess Durga is releasing me. He was always meditating on Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare. He was always meditating on that. So Jada Bharat was moving around. One day, from that place where he was moving, Savari Desh, Savari is a place in India, Savari Desh. So when he was passing through the Savari Desh, there was a king of Savari. His name was Rahugana. He was in the palanquin with multiple carriers. At least we need 4 people to carry a palanquin. And the king was going, it's in old times. Now the kings goes in cars. But at that time, the king was going in a palanquin. And the carriers were carrying. And they found one person. The carrier of the palanquin is old and he is very slow and is not moving properly. So the other carriers, the palanquin holders, they said, Maharaj, one servant of you is not moving properly. He is very slow because he is diseased. He is suffering with fever. What should we do? So the king said, you should change with some other person. They said, we don't have anyone. Look around. This whole kingdom is mine. This whole kingdom is mine. Change. So they found that Jada Bharat is sitting under a tree. So after the order of our King Rahugana, they called Jada Bharat. You are the person living in our kingdom. You are our king's man. You have to serve to the king. Jada Bharat, without any discussion, because he don't talk, he said, by waving his head, okay. And then he was very healthy, very tall, but he was different person. He walks by skipping. Even ants come to the path. If any ant is going from the path, the Jada Bharat will stop and wait for the ant to pass. And if he has to go ahead, he will jump over to the ant or any insect instead of killing in ignorance. People say we are driving a car, if we kill someone, that is in ignorance. That is in ignorance. But ignorance is not a bliss. Jada Bharat Maharaj is very, very cautious about any activity. He was not speaking, he was not talking to anyone, he was not begging for the food, he was not working, he was not killing any insects, he was avoiding the Brahmatya from heaven. So the Rahugana Maharaj said, what happened? The older servant was very slow, and this person who is new is jumping a lot and making me jump in the palanquin. I am getting so many problems. My head is again and again hitting on the wooden palanquin. So Rahuguna shouted on that person, hey, you new person, why don't you behave properly? Why don't you walk in a manner? I can kill you. You know I am the king. And Jada Bharat accepting all nonsense. And it's a teaching that if you really want to get liberation, if you really want to go back to Godhead, leaving this material world, one has to accept all kind of miseries coming into the life. Accept. Just accept. Nothing else. If we accept without any ifs and buts, we will automatically get the eternal place of Golok Vrindavan Dham of Shri Krishna. Krishna says, Brahma is also saying the same thing in the Canto 10th of Srimad Bhagavatam 14th chapter. If you just accept the miseries and the abusive words, anything coming from other people, maybe your family members, relatives, or devotees or friends, anyone, if you just accept it without any repercussions, without any irritations, without any retaliations, what will happen? Automatically, when you leave this body, you will become the personal associate of Sri Krishna and Golok Vrindavan. Whatever we are doing is for what reason? We are doing it to achieve Krishna. So Bharat Maharaj is the example of that. So now Rahugana, after a lot of shouting, he said, keep the palanquin down. I want to talk to this person. Who is he? He came out and now he was shouting, you know, who am I? Who am I? Lot of shouting was there. So Jada Bharat, it's given in Bhagavatam, spoke for the first time. He spoke for the first time. So, discussion in this chapter, the Brahman Jada Bharat instructs the Maharaj Rahugana in detail. He tells the king, you are not very experienced, yet you pose yourself as a learned person because you are very proud of your knowledge. The Rahugana Maharaj, the King Rahugana, was also a devotee. He was going to the Kapil Muni ashram near Calcutta, Ganga Sagar. There is an ashram called Kapil Muni ashram. So this King Rahugana was a devotee going for hearing Hari Katha. So do not think that we are chanting Hare Krishna, we are devotees so we can get liberation. Rahugana was also attached on the very proud person. Jada Bharat says, actually, a person who is on the transcendental platform does not care for the social behavior, does not care, and sacrifices everything for the spiritual advancement. The social behavior comes within the jurisdiction of Karm Kand. This is a Karm Kand. When we expect something from someone, when we retaliate for our problems, people say, Prabhuji, we need to be practical. If you become so much practical, it is a part of a Karm Kand. It's given in Srimad Bhagavatam, this chapter 11 of this Canto 5. It's a Karm Kand. No one can spiritually advance by such activities. So Jada Bharat was continuously explaining. So this mind is the leader of the senses and is absorbed in the material activities, life after life, engaging us. So the leader of this body is soul, but the soul is sleeping, and there is a subtle body of mind, intelligence, and ego. So the mind takes over the intelligence and finally the soul. For example, in a hotel, if the owner is sleeping, the owner's son is sleeping, and manager takes over all the servants, the hotel runs, the big factory runs in a different way. So the manager is actually mind, who is there for managing things. The intelligence is the son of the owner. The owner is soul of this body. So Prabhupada used to say, the awakening Krishna consciousness. We have to awaken our Krishna consciousness. So, awakening Krishna consciousness. We have to awaken the sleeping soul. Once the soul awakens, then Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, one who continuously engaged in my service, dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upyantite. I will give you the intelligence how to come towards me. So, foremost process is to awaken Krishna consciousness, awaken the soul. The soul is there in active state, but it's a sleeping form. Like we have a mobile phone. The mobile phone is there, but sometimes we keep it on silent mode or in a sleeping mode or in an airplane mode. Mobile is there, but it's not active. The soul is there, but is not Sachidanandly active. The soul is Sat, Chit, and Anand. Sat means eternal, Chit means knowledgeable, and Anand means blissful. So when the soul is Sachidanand, means we are Sachidanand, then how we are fearful of our death if we are eternal? How we always think that I am not having knowledge if we are all knowledgeable? How we are is in a sad and a sorrow mood if we are blissful? So these things says and shows we are not in a Sachidanand platform because it is covered by mind, intelligence, and ego, false ego. So the mind is the leader of all the senses. So we have to do all the activities. Danam, whatever donations we give. Danam, swakarmana, whatever donations, whatever prescribed duties we do. Danam cha swakarmanam, niyamascha yamascha, whatever rules and regulations, niyam we follow. Shutram cha karmani cha satvrtani, whatever we hear, whatever karmani, whatever pious karmas we do, sadvrtani, whatever fastings, Ekadashi, Janmashtami, whatever we do is for the reason. If the reason is sarve manaha nigraham lakshanatah, the mind should be controlled and utilized in the service of param yoga manasa siddhi. That comes in 11th canto, this shloka. So the param siddhi means the mind is controlled and in service of Krishna. Whatever we do, danam, swakarmana, niyama, yamascha, srutram, cha karmani, cha sadvrtani. Whatever we do only for manaha nigraham, to control the mind. So these all discussions was going on. Rahugana became surprised to see, oh, you are a transcendental person. Who are you? Please explain me. In the forest of the dacoits of senses, I am plundered by the relatives of my family, wife, children, relatives. These are like jackals, wolves, and lions of that forest. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained as bhavatavi. It's a forest of relatives and friends all around. Those who are plundering us in a different forms, and we are thinking they are loving us. So this is how the conversation was going on. And finally, Shukdev Goswami says that this Rahuguna was on a level of understanding that Jada Bharat is a real guru, is a real person who is a transcendental, is a self-realized soul. And he surrendered to Bharat Maharaj and said, I am really sorry for misbehaving with the perfect Paramhansa Vaishnava. I am really sorry. Please forgive me. And instead of going to the Kapil Muni ashram, I surrender to you and accept you as my guru. So one should make a guru a person who is a self-realized soul. There are so many gurus, yoga gurus, bodily gurus, gym gurus. But the ultimate guru is one who gives Krishna consciousness as a self-realized soul. Surrender to that person and then ask questions. Tad vidhi pranipatena pari prashnena sevaya updakshanti te jnanam jnanina tattva darshinaha. Just surrender to that self-realized person who is a tattva veta and then ask questions, queries about yourself. How I can develop my Krishna consciousness and go back to Krishna. And finally, that Tatvidhi person, the Tattva Veta, will give you because he has realized, like Rahuguna surrenders to Bharat Maharaj, Bharat who is realized from 3 births, now he is in a realized state and now he can give that information to someone. So, one Puran says, after surrendering, Rahuguna was crying in tears and Jada Bharat was going ahead, said, okay, now start your journey of self-realization, I am going back. And this Bharat Maharaj, Canto says, Bharat Maharaj left from that place. While leaving, Rahuguna asked the last question. You know about the 3 lives. You know about 3 lives. You told me that you were Bharat, king, you were deer, and now you are again a king. You know about, now you are a Brahmin boy. Can you tell something about me also? Because people are very curious to know about their future and their past. They think the devotees are astrologers. So, but the real fact is, devotees are bigger than the astrologers. Devotees are bigger than the Ashtasiddhi people, because devotee has 18 siddhis given in Srimad Bhagavatam. 18 siddhis. A devotee is an astrologer, he can tell about your past and future if a self-realized person. But they don't show off because we don't want to do the cheap propaganda that we know each and everything. We don't. Devotees are humble and they maintain their humble attitude and humble state of mind. So finally, Rahuguna asked, who I was in my past life, can you tell me? So Jada Bharat Maharaj, before leaving, smiled and said, you were that baby deer. You were that baby deer because you was attached to the king Bharata, you became king Rahuguna. In your when you were ending your life as a deer, you were remembering the king, you become the king. And I was that king who was remembering the deer, I became deer. So, by the destiny, we again came back and again we are in attachment. But at that time, I got attached to you and I have to travel to the 3 births. But now I am giving you knowledge how to stop this birth and life cycle. And finally, Jada Bharat Maharaj left that place. So this is a Krishna consciousness informations. So Rahuguna get the Jada Bharat Maharaj association and he could overcome the illusion in which he was living his life. Okay, so I finish over here. If you have any questions, I just in a brief, it's a very long and a discussion. It's a 7-8 chapters in Srimad Bhagavatam explaining this, but because the time is short, I have some services also, so I am finishing in a brief. I explained about the story, the pastime of Jada Bharat Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Dear devotees, if you have any question, please raise the hand and unmute yourself. So we should thanks Prabhuji with chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. If you can unmute yourself and let's thanks Prabhuji. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.